Hello students, this video is in continuation with the previous video where we had studied the expression for torque in Cartesian coordinates. In this video, we are going to continue the same discussion, but this time we will be evaluating the expression for torque in polar coordinates. So, Cartesian coordinates are the ones where we discuss about a set of coordinate axes, namely x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. But when the quantities under consideration are the quantities related to rotational motion, then it's better to convert all the results in polar coordinates, because when the quantities are rotating, when the objects are rotating, the quantities involved have a dependence on the angle. Since something is rotating, so its angle is getting changed. So it's better than, instead of having line segments called XYZ, we should include angles when we are discussing rotational motion. So I repeat, there are two systems where we will be dealing with torque. First is Cartesian system of axis, where every quantity is represented in the terms of line segments x, y, z, like the coordinates x, y, z. But when we include angles into consideration, when we include angles into discussion, then we are talking about rotational quantities, the quantities which are related to rotational motion, and ultimately we are studying the dependence on the angle also. Fine. So here we go. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, this is the origin. This is the particle P. This is some object P which is rotating, right, under the action of the applied force F. Suppose you applied a force F at one of the ends of the object and it got rotated. And what is going to happen? Now, what are polar coordinates? They are r, theta, phi. Let's have a look. What do these r, theta, phi mean in terms of torque, right? So the distance from the origin to this P point where the force has been applied, that is r vector, and the angle which is made with x-axis, this r vector makes an angle with x-axis. This is theta. This theta is getting changed. Reason being, because the quantity is rotating and rotating. The object is rotating, and that's how this angle with respect to the x-axis is getting changed over and again. Fine. Now, let's have a look here. This was the force which was applied on this object so that it got rotated. If you extend the line of action of this force like this, and if you extend it from the origin also, then suppose F vector makes an angle with x-axis, and that angle is alpha, right? And this angle is phi. Phi is the angle which the line of action of force makes with the line of action of r vector, right? So here you have vectors r vector, f vector, and x-axis, ox vector. So we have to discuss the angles between three of them. R vector and OX vector. They are making an angle. See, R, F, OX. Angle between R and OX, theta. Angle between F and OX, alpha. Angle between R and F, phi. So, right, we have to discuss these things. So, F vector can be resolved into two components like this and like this. Since F is making an angle alpha with the x-axis, this is the x-axis, right? So if F is making an angle alpha with the x-axis, so the component that it will be making with the x-axis will be written as F cos alpha, and the component which it will be making with the y-axis will be written as F sin alpha, Fx and Fy. Same way, if P point is written as xy, the coordinates xy, we know that x is equal to r cos theta, y is equal to r sin theta, as it has been explained in the previous derivation, that if this is the point P, it has coordinates xy, and this is the origin, right? So x coordinate lies here, this is x and this is y, right? So x and this is r. X is equal to r cos theta, y is the perpendicular, so it's r sin theta. So from the previous derivation where we had discussed expression of torque in Cartesian coordinates, where we had derived this equation, right? Tau equals to xfy minus yfx. So just put the values of x and y from these two equations and then put the values of fx and fy, right? Just put them. Once you put these values, you are going to study a very important relationship, which is if this formula is obeyed, sine of angle A, cos of angle B minus cos of angle A and sine angle B, sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. That formula becomes sine A minus B. It's as simple as that. I repeat, sine A cos B minus cos A sine B is equal to sine A minus B. Just learn this formula, right? And you can prove it also if you want to learn it better. Take angle A 60 degree, angle B 30 degree, sine 60 cos 30 minus cos 60 sine 30. Just have a look here. Sine 60 degree is root 3 by 2. Cos 30 degree is root 3 by 2 again. Minus cos, now A is 60 degree. Cos 60 degree is 1 by 2. Sine 30 degree is 1 by 2 again. This is 3 by 4 minus 1 by 4. This is 2 by 4. 2 by 4 is 1 by 2. Right? So after that, this should be equal to sine A minus B. Sine A minus B, RHS, A is 60 degree, B is 30 degree. So sine 30, which is 1 by 2 again. Right? So just learn this formula, sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. Instead of writing this whole expression, we can write sine A minus B. Same way, here you can see cos theta sine alpha minus sine theta cos alpha. Just rearrange the terms so that they become a formula. First of all, take R and F common, right? This becomes sine alpha cos theta minus cos alpha sine theta. So this becomes sine A minus B. Always keep sine first. So this is A, this is B, alpha minus theta. But now there's interesting observation which you should keep in mind. You know that sum of interior opposite angles of a triangle is equal to exterior angle, right? These are two interior opposite angles with respect to alpha. So when you will do theta plus phi, you will get alpha, right? Because these are two interior angles, theta plus phi. That's equal to alpha. So theta plus phi equals to alpha. So alpha minus theta will be equal to phi. So instead of writing alpha minus theta here, I can write phi here. So torque becomes equal to RF sine phi. But you know what? You just have converted this expression, which was the Cartesian expression, into polar expression. So this was torque in Cartesian coordinates and this is torque in polar coordinates, where phi was that angle which r vector makes with f vector. I repeat, phi is that angle which r vector makes with f vector. Suppose in any numerical, instead of phi, they have given psi or anything. They can just change the name of the angle, but keep in mind that in the expression of torque, the angle which is involved is always made between R and F, right? Now this polar expression is very, very useful. Very useful. It explains many concepts. You must have seen this tool. This is a wrench. This is used to just unscrew a nut or bolt, right? It has a long arm. Why is it preferred to use the wrench with a long arm? Because if you use a wrench with a long arm, you can produce more rotational effect. See, torque is equal to Rf sine phi, as per the polar expression states. Now, F is equal to torque upon R sine phi. So, if you are using a wrench with a very long arm, you have increased R. R increases, F decreases for the given amount of torque. What does that mean? That when you have a wrench of a longer arm, you would have to apply lesser force, right, to unscrew something. Okay. Same way, you have a door here, right? So you need to discuss when will be the door most easily opened or closed. When torque is maximum. We know that torque is equal to Rf sine phi, right? When phi is 90 degree, which is the maximum value of sine theta. Sine 90 degree is equal to 1, which is the maximum value. So torque will be maximum in that case, right? So that way, you need to see that if you are applying a perpendicular force, like if you are opening or closing a door like this, right, then it is most easily opened. But if this is the door and you are applying a force in this direction only, then theta becomes equal to, phi becomes equal to 180 degree. अगर आप ऐसे फोर्स लगा रहे हो डोर ओपन करने के लिए, so phi becomes equal to 180 degree. So when this happens, torque will be equal to Rf sine 180 degree, which becomes 0 because sine 180 degree is indeed equal to 0. So yes, these are the two important applications which we derive from the expression of polar coordinates. Thank you.